neutral posture and everything. So again, starting on our mats, feet nice and hip width apart, weight nice and evenly distributed. Soften through the knees. So if you're unsure about that, just lock the knees out and then soften them. And we're just going to roll the weight forwards over the balls of the feet, leaning forwards. You'll notice that core start to engage and then come back to centre. What we're wanting to do here is maintain that core engagement that we find as we're leaning forwards. So maintaining that core engagement as we come back to centre. Make sure that weight's nice and evenly distributed, and we'll find neutral pelvis now. So just squeezing the tailbone between the legs and then arching, really stick the bottom out behind. So we're really increasing the arch and then softening the arch, squeezing the tailbone through, slightly engaging through the glutes there, forwards and backwards. Nice to loosen up that lower back as well. So we're looking now to find out somewhere in the middle, so just slightly turning that tailbone between the legs, drawing it through that pelvic floor so everything feels nice and tight around the centre. I think there's somebody else from the waiting room. Sorry, one sec. It's Jill. Right, so pelvic floor lifted, core engaged, crown of the head towards the ceiling. So think length into the spine, and then we're just going to bring the shoulders up, down, and back, really sliding those shoulder blades down the back of the back, almost like you're trying to pop them into the back pockets of the jeans. Really big shoulder rolls here. And then finally sliding those shoulder blades down and back. We're just going to bring the hand to opposite shoulder and the other hand to the other shoulder and work some rotation into the spine now. So keeping the hips facing forwards, we're going to rotate through the spine. So don't just turn the head, try and get that twist into the waist and then inhale it back to center. Inhale it through, squeeze, twist, inhale it back. Let's go one more on each side. Back to center. Almost like thinking about lots of damp cloths wrapped around the spine. Try to wring out every drop of water on that twist. Bringing the arms down to the side, take a nice inhale breath, take it up into full body stretch, keeping that core engaged, keeping that tailbone tucked under, taking it into a nice side bend stretch, so really lengthening through the side of the waist. Take a deep inhale breath here, and then exhale, using the obliques, we're going to pull ourselves back to center and down to the other side. Inhale breath here. Nice deep breath into that stretch and exhale coming back to center. Again, bring the hands behind the head this time. We're going to just work that rotation one more time. Elbows nice and wide out to the side so we can't see them. Inhale it back, exhale it through. Bring it back to center and relax the arms down to the side. Let's take it into our roll down now. So really lengthening through the spine, shoulders nice and relaxed, collarbones nice and wide. Deep inhale breath to prepare as we exhale. Bring the chin towards the chest, shoulders come forward, tailbone stays tucked under, core stays slightly engaged as we just roll the spine down. Think about creating space between each vertebrae as we roll it down. Keep those knees nice and soft as well. Try to transfer the weight a little bit here onto the front of the foot. Take some nice deep breaths. Nice exhale breath. As we exhale, try to go a little bit deeper into the stretch. Feel that nice stretch on the back of the legs, down the spine. And then if we're not quite at the floor with the hands, just bend through the knees so we can get the palms of the hands flat to the floor. And we're going to take an inhale breath as we reach the right hand up towards the ceiling, taking the gaze with the hands. So we're looking up. Nice rotation through the spine there. Just hold it there for a couple of seconds. And then bring the hand back down to the floor. Take an inhale breath and then exhale. Bring the arm up. Again, keeping the gaze to this top hand. And then bring it back down again. We're going to really bend through the knees now. So palms of the hands flat to the floor, and then bending through the knees, weight back over the heels, bottom down towards the heel, and then pushing that bottom back up towards the ceiling. Feel that nice stretch down the back of the legs, and then back down. Nice deep bend through the knee. Bring the bottom down towards the floor. Exhale, pushing back up. Let's do a couple more. Feel that lovely stretch into the hamstring. Somebody else waiting. Keep going. And then last one, bending through those knees, pushing that bottom up towards the ceiling, keeping the palms of the hand flat to the floor. And then removing the hands from the floor and flop. So relaxing through head, neck and shoulders. Take a nice deep inhale breath here. As we exhale, scoop the tummy away from the thighs, so tummy button towards the spine, really pushing up into the spine as we roll back up and roll back out. Coming up nice and slowly. And again at the top, big reset of the shoulders when we reach the top. Let's take it now into a few squats. So just widen out through the legs, the feet are wider than hip width apart. To warm up through the legs a little bit, we're going to bring the weight back over the heel, leading with the hip, deep, nice deep squat. Bring the arms up towards the ceiling, keep the spine as straight as we can, and then push up through the heel, back out that squat. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. So reaching up, nice and deep. Making sure the knees stay traveling out over the toes there. So try not to let the knees collapse in. Get that stretch into the hip and push up. Let's go for 2 more of those. So almost imagine you sliding the back down a brick wall, trying to keep as upright as we can. And last one. Let's stay down in squat for this last one. We're going to hold it here for 3 breaths. 2, lovely squatting. 1, and push up through those heels. Hopefully those legs feel a bit warmer now. Coming towards the end of the mat now. Let's take it down to the floor. So again, feet hip width apart. Let's roll it down and walk it out. So take an inhale breath, tailbones tucked under, core nice and engaged, pelvic floors lifted, chin towards the chest. Roll that spine down, create space between the vertebrae. As we roll down, lost the ability to exercise and talk at the same time over Christmas. If we're not quite at the floor with the hands bent through the knees, we're going to walk it out into plank, all the way down the mat. Wrists underneath shoulders, nice and low with the bottom, but in line with the body so we're not hanging the hips. Bottom's level, we're going to hold it here. If that's too much, come down to 3/4. Pop the knees down, keep that core engaged. We're going to hold it again for 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees down, 1 at a time. Have a little sit back into the heels. Take it into child's pose. Let me catch my breath. Nicely inhale breath, really breathing into the side and the back of the lungs there. Really stretch out across the rib cage. We're going to come back into a 3/4 plank now and work Pilates press up. So coming down, so bringing the shoulders over the wrists. We're going to walk the knees back, keeping that core switched on, engaging through the shoulders as well. So just find that nice neutral shoulder, maybe by just squeezing the shoulder blades together and then parting the shoulder blades. We want to be somewhere in the middle of that movement. So really active shoulders there. Core switched on, pelvic floors lifted. We're going to Pilates press, so tricep press. So elbows in and inhale as we lower ourselves down towards the floor. And exhale as we push back up. So elbows nice and tight to the side of the ribs there. Inhaling down. Exhale, push. On this next one, inhaling down, elbows nice and tight. Exhale, push. We're then going to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling, taking it into a little bit of rotation of the spine there, and then pop the hand back down, back into our press. Inhaling as we lower, and exhale, pushing back up. At the top of that press up, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Open up that chest. Let's go for one more on each side. Great one for those bingo wings. I think I've used my triceps for about 3 weeks. And last one, exhale and reach. And then coming back to our 3/4 plank, have a little sit back, so hinging from the hip, bring the bottom down towards the heels, really stretch out through the arms there, and take some nice deep breaths. Let's have a little walk round to one side with the hands. Get that nice side bend stretch, so really create some space between that rib and hip. And then walking the hands back through, over to the other side. One hand on top of the other. Feel that stretch into the side of the waist. And then bring it back to centre. Well done. We're going to come down to our backs now. So we're going to work, to start with, to warm ourselves up, we're going to take it straight into the 100. So coming down onto the spine, making sure we've got that nice neutral spine or imprint. So neutral spine, slightly turn the tailbone under like we did when we were stood up. We've got a slight gap underneath that lower arch of the back. Imprint, safest option to work. Imprint, push the whole of the spine down into the floor. So you're shortening that distance between the ribs and the hips. The pubic bone slightly higher than the hip bones. So to start with, actually, to warm ourselves up towards the 100, we're going to work a bit on our pelvic placement. So these hips want to stay completely still here, feet hip width apart, and we're just going to allow the knee to fall out to the side without the hip moving. So inhale as we bring the knee out, and then exhale as we bring the knee back up towards the ceiling. Same on the other side, so inhale, knee comes out to the side without the hips moving, and exhale as we bring the knee back up to centre. So just keep going one side then the other, but making sure both hip bones stay facing the ceiling. You want to put your hands on the hips there to make sure there's no movement. Harder than it looks, you're really engaging those deep core muscles to keep the pelvis in place. If you're finding that quite easy, come back to centre, bring the leg up into tabletop position, bring second leg up into tabletop position. Same thing again, but with legs in tabletop. So we're going to inhale as the knee comes out to the side without any movement from the hip, quite a lot harder. Exhale as we bring the knee back up towards the ceiling. So you almost want to be trying to push the hip, pull the hip bones together here. I know that's not physically possible. That's a sensation that we're trying to create. So that lower abdominal muscle is really flat. There's no doming, no lifting from the spine. One side then the other. Just reminding ourselves which muscles we need to work. Let's go for the last one. One more to each side. Inhale it out. Exhale, squeeze back to centre. And last one. Exhale it back. Well done. Popping the feet back down to the floor. We're going to bring the arms down to the side, collarbones out nice and wide. Again, engaging through that transverse corset muscle. Spine doesn't move anywhere as we bring the first leg up into tabletop position. Second leg comes up into tabletop position. Arms down by the side. So really lengthen the arms down to the side. And we're going to start to hinge from the shoulder. Inhaling for 5 pulses. Exhale for 5 pulses. Let's get nice and warm with this one. So this is level 1. Head stays on the floor. Head and shoulders stay down. Level 2, head and shoulders come up. So the whole of the shoulder blades up from the floor. We're really pushing that spine down into the mat. In 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice deep inhale, nice deep exhale. Level 3, we can lengthen through the legs, squeeze the heels together. This is a bit mean, starting you back on the 100, isn't it? Especially when I've lost count. Halfway there. 6, 7. Almost give yourself a double chin. Try to lengthen through the back of the neck. 8, 9. Last 10 pulses. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Well done. Bring the head and shoulders down if they're not already. Hug the knees into the chest. Try to relax the core. Have a little roll around. Well done. So you should feel nicely warmed up now. So bringing the feet back down to the floor. Again, maintaining that neutral posture or imprint. We're going to just start by raising the legs one at a time back into tabletop position. We're going for single leg stretch this time. So all I want you to do here is lengthen the leg away out at about a 45-degree angle and then bring it back to tabletop position. So out 45 degrees and then back to tabletop. So that's level 1 without that spine moving, without that tummy doming, keeping that imprint or neutral spine, whichever one you've chosen. Safest option is always imprint. You want to make this a little bit harder. The lower the leg is to the floor, the harder it is to maintain that imprint or neutral. And if you want to make that a little bit harder again, you can bring the hands behind the head, lifting the head and shoulders up from the floor, and work the same thing again. So really lengthen that leg away. Imagine somebody's pulling the foot away from the body. Well done. Let's go for 2 more to each side. So really pushing down that lower spine, foot up with the head and shoulders. Last ones. Looks really good, everyone. And last one. And then bring the knees in towards the chest. Relax the abdominals. Have a little roll around. In fact, let's take it out into full body stretch. Popping the feet down one at a time. Bring the arms behind the head. Lengthen the legs away. And then really lift the spine up from the floor. Lengthening down the front of the body. Take some nice deep breaths there. Really breathe into the bottom of the lungs. Stretch out across the rib cage. And then we're going to come down into side lying. Do a bit of glute work next. Give the abdominals a rest. This one always hurts on first one back. Don't really use the glutes much over Christmas. So bringing the feet tucked in and behind the bottom there. So if we were against a brick wall, the soles of the feet and the spine would be against a brick wall. Ideally, head wants to be down on the arms so the neck's in line with the spine. But I can't see everybody if I do that, so I'm just going to pop my head into my hand, which is also fine. So create a little bit of space there between the waist and the mat. So just push the hip away, making sure that they remain stacked one on top of the other. And then we're going to start with simple climb. So feet stay together, and we're just going to open up the hip, working the side of the glutes here, and control the knees back together. So if you pop your finger into the side of the bottom, they start to feel the glute activate as we lift the leg up. That's it. Looks good. Try not to make any movement from the hip here. You want to just pop your hands on the hip there just to make sure there's no movement. You can also do that. Make sure we don't collapse down into the floor. So always a little bit of a gap there between the waist and the mat. Imagine there's a piece of Lego drawing pin, something that you wouldn't want to lay down on. Perfect. So you should start to feel side of the bottom heat up a little bit there. Let's do one last one down here, and then we're going to take it into elevated climb. So bringing the knees together, lifting the feet up from the floor, and then we should be able to open up that hip a little bit more there. So squeezing up, making sure there's no movement from the hip. Exhale as we open. Inhale as we close. Also, when we get to the top, just try to squeeze out an extra couple of centimetres without moving the hips. Just really isolating that glute. That's it. That looks good. Let's keep that going. Let's go for 3 more. 1. Check in with the waist, make sure we've not collapsed. 2. Still working the core here. And last one, we're going to stay open with the hip on this last one. We're going to extend the legs, so we're going to add in a leg extension. So reach, bring the feet back together, and then bring the knees back together. So it's an open, extend, engage through the quad there on that extension as well. Really reach with the foot. Let's go for 4 more. 1. 2, looks lovely. Last 2. 3. Feet and knees. And last one, let's hold the extension on this last one. So extend. If we can, see if we can turn the knee more up towards the ceiling. We're holding for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the feet back together. Bring the knees back together. Bring the feet down to the floor. Give the bottom a really good rub there. Well done. A little bit of oblique work whilst we're here. So bringing the head down onto the arm now, if it's not already. We're going to lengthen the legs, so we're in one nice straight line. Again, hips are stacked one on top of the other. We're going for that just simple double leg lift. So squeezing the heels together, drawing up through that pelvic floor. Inhale, breath to repair. As we exhale, lift and lengthen through the legs. Up. And then inhale as we lower it back down. So just following the breath. Exhale, up. Squeezing from the side of the waist there. Inhale, lower. So we should be feeling that here. Inhale as we lower back down. Almost try to reach the underneath leg further than the top leg. Try to make it longer. Let's go for 3 more. 1. 2. And last one, let's hold it up. So exhale, lift, squeeze the heels together, engage through the core, lift that pelvic floor. We're holding for 3. Nice deep breaths. 2. And 1. And then bring the legs back down. Well done. Bringing the legs up into tabletop position now. Nice stretch, spine twist on our sides. So shoulders are stacked, so you might just want to have a little shuffle up the mat. If you wanted to pop a cushion underneath the head here, please do, just for comfort. Bringing the arms out level with the shoulders. We're going to take a nice deep inhale breath, and as we exhale, lift and lengthen through this top arm. Keep the gaze, this moving hand, as we really open up the chest. Aim to get the shoulder blades as close to the floor as we can. And just enjoy that stretch for a few seconds. Nice deep breaths again. And then on the next exhale breath, we're going to pull ourselves back over. So take an inhale breath to prepare. Exhale, really lengthen through this arm. Try to sweep the ceiling with the fingertips as we come back over. Bringing the hands back together. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, slide that top hand as far away as we can and just really relax into that. and then bring the hands back together again. We're then going to flip onto our fronts, do a little bit of work with glutes and upper back. So working the posterior chain. So bringing the hands one on top of the other, forehead onto the hands. So for this one, we need to find our neutral spine again. So all I want you to do here is push the pubic bone down into the floor, slightly lifting the tummy button away from the mat. So we've got a slight engagement there with the glutes. Let's go upper back first. So forehead onto the hands, neck stays nice and long. Take an inhale breath here as we exhale. We're just going to come up with the head and shoulders, not really high, just to hover above the mat. We're going to hold it here for 3, 2, and 1. And inhale as we lower it back down towards the floor. Let's go again. Take an inhale breath to prepare. Exhale breath to come up. Keep that tummy button lifted from the floor. Pubic bone stays down into the mat. Holding for 3, 2, 1. And inhale it back down. You want to take it up another level. Exhale as we come up. Rather than staying here, we're going to increase that lever length and just reach the arms out in front. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Hands come back and inhale it back down to the mat. Let's go for 3 more reps. Take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we come up. Not a massive lift, just a hover. Level 2, so we bring the arms out in front. 2, 1. Hands come back. Inhale it back down. Last 2 reps. Exhale, lift. Holding here for level 1, level 2. Bring those arms out for 3, 2, 1. Hands come back. Inhale it down. Last one. Deep breath in. Exhale, up we come. Holding here for level 1, level 2. Arms come out. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Hands come back. Inhale it down. Well done. Now we're going to work lower back and glutes. So again, same thing again. Tuck the tailbone under, push that pubic bone down to the floor. Let's go single leg first. So take an inhale breath. As we exhale, pushing the right hip down into the floor, lengthening through that right leg, squeezing that right glute. We're lifting and inhale, lowering back down. Going up with the left side, making sure we're pushing that left hip down to the floor. Left leg nice and straight, squeeze from that left glute and lower it back down. Let's keep going, alternate legs. Try not to let the hips lift up from the floor. Keep that tummy button towards the spine. If you want to make this a little bit harder, come up with both legs at the same time. So pushing both hips down into the floor, squeeze both glutes, and inhale as we lower. Exhale, lift. If you wanted to make this a little bit harder again, we're going to work the whole of the posterior chain. So coming up with head and shoulders and both legs together. We're going to go for 4 more reps. If that's too much, just go back to single leg raises. So let's go for 3 more. Last 2. Great one for posture, this one. Strengthening the full posterior chain. And last one. Let's hold it up on this last one. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lower back down. Well done. Hands underneath the shoulders, pushing up onto all fours. Have a sit back into the heels. Lengthen out through the spine there. Take some nice deep breaths. And then we're going to do the other side of the glutes now. So we need to bring ourselves other way around on the mat. Working our clam first. So setting ourselves up Feet in the opposite direction. Again, imagine if we're against that wall. Soles of the feet and the spine would be against the wall. Heels stay together. Waist is lifted, hips are stacked. So going simple, normal climb. We're just going to lift and lower, open and close that hip, making sure we keep that hip nice and still. So the way we're keeping the hip still is by really engaging through the core, fixing the hips. That's it. Just warming up through the glutes. Oh, looks good. Keep going. So control the knees back together. Lovely, Jill. Nice, Susie. Nice, Bex. Let's go for one more. And bring the knees back together. We're going to elevate the climb now, so we might be able to open those hips a little bit wider. Squeeze. Remember, when you think you've got to the top, just try and squeeze out those extra couple of inches without rolling back on those hips. Checking with the waist, make sure we've not collapsed. Looks perfect. Let's go for the last four before we add our extension in. Last two. And this one, let's take the extension. So open, extend, reach with the foot, engage through the quad. Feet come back together, knees come back together. All with control. No movement from the hips. Perfect. Looks really good. This is going to hurt tomorrow. I've done 3 classes today. All I've done is sit on my glutes for the last 3 weeks. Last 2. And last one, we're going to hold it. So open up the hip, extend away the leg. If we can, try to turn that knee a little bit more up towards the ceiling, externally rotating that leg for 3, 2, 1. Feet come back together, knees come back together. Bring those feet down to the floor, give the bottom a really good smack, punch, rub, whatever you need to do. And then we're going to take it back to the oblique work again. So lengthening the legs away. So in one nice straight line, relax the head down onto the arm. This hand in front for a bit of support and balance. Inhale, breath. As we exhale, squeezing the heels together, lifting up through that pelvic floor as we lengthen and lift the legs away. Inhale, lower it back down. So exhale, lift, squeeze. Inhale, lower. Perfect. Let's go for 4. Again, really try to reach that underneath leg away. Reach it longer than the top leg. 2. And last one, let's hold it up for 3 breaths. Lift and hold. Nice deep breaths. 3. 2. And 1. Bring the legs back down. Well done. Bring the knees up, level with the hips. Arms come out level with the shoulders. Take a little shuffle up the mat so the shoulders are stacked. Pop your pillow underneath your head if you've got one. If not, just relax the head and neck down. Take an inhale, breath to repair. As we exhale, really lift and lengthen the arm. Sweep the ceiling on the way. And just aim to get those shoulder blades as close to the floor as we can. Nice deep breaths. On the next exhale, we're coming back over. So inhale to prepare, exhale, engaging through the core to bring ourselves back. Bring the hands together. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, slide that hand as far away from the body as we can. and relax. And then bringing the hands back together. We're going to come up into seated, staying on the mat. So, where's the time gone? So, sitting towards the front of the mat, feet hip width apart. We sat nice and tall on the tail, on the sit bones. Arms out in front, level with the shoulders. So, making sure those shoulders are down and back, so we're not hunched forward. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. We're going to do some half roll downs now. So, take an inhale breath. We should be nice and tall, crown of the head towards the ceiling. As we exhale, pelvic tilt, and we're aiming to get the back of the pelvis, so the back of your leggings or your shorts, down towards the floor. So half roll down, nice C curve with the spine there, and then bring it back up. Reach the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath. Exhale again. Work that pelvic tilt first, so really flattening through those lower abdominals, scooping those lower abdominals. Try to get the waistband of the trousers down to the floor and then come back up. Let's go for a couple more before we add a little bit of rotation in, working those obliques as well. And back up. Last one, let's hold it down. So pelvic tilt, get the back of the pelvis down towards the floor. We're going to hold for 3, 2, shoulders down and back, 1, and come back up. So now we're going to work the obliques as well. So same thing again, but this time we're going to add a little twist in. So we're going to reach towards the back corner of the mat and then bring it back to centre. Nice and tall in the centre, and then bring it back. Sweep the arm down to the corner of the mat and back up again. Working alternate sides, reach, bikini, nice arm, looks good. Let's go for one more to each side. And the last one. Coming back to centre, nice and tall in the centre. We're going back to the original roll down, so again, pelvic tilt. Think about the waistband of the trousers, we're trying to get that down onto the floor. We're going to hold it here. We're going to extend through one arm, bringing the arm up above the head and then back down again. So we're increasing that lever length, making it slightly harder on the core as the arm raises. If that's too much, just hold or rest at any time if you need to. I'm going to go for one more on each side after this one. And last ones. And last one. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. And then just slowly start to place one vertebrae at a time down onto the floor. And then bring those arms behind the head. Lengthen the legs away. Lift the spine up from the floor, lengthen the back through those abdominals. Sorry, I can't speak. Nice deep breaths. And then bringing the arms back down to the side. Just going to work a couple of shoulder bridges. So again, finding that imprint this time. So really tuck the tailbone under. Bringing the feet directly underneath the knees, so they're a little bit closer to the body than normal. Heels are directly underneath the knees. Try to keep the knees as still as we can. Imagine you've got 2 glasses of water, one on each knee, arms down by the side. Collarbones nice and wide. So I want you to sink the lower back down into the floor, lifting the pubic bone higher than the hip bones before we start to peel the spine up from the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Keeping that tailbone tucked under, so we're looking for a nice straight slope from the knee down to the shoulder. You shouldn't be on your neck here, you should still be able to move the head up and down. Take an inhale breath here, and as we exhale, we're going to slowly start to place the spine down. Again, paying attention to the knees, making sure they stay nice and still. Remember the glasses of water on the knees. So that tailbone touches the floor, inhale breath. Exhale again. So lift the pubic bone, sink the spine down before we start to peel spine up. Squeeze the hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath. Exhale, slowly start to place spine back down. You should get a nice stretch down the hip, down the quad there as well, which is nice. Let's keep that going. So tilt and peel. Squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath, slowly placing the spine down. Let's go for one last one. Take an inhale breath. We're going to come up into our bridge. So pelvic tilt, peel the spine. Squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale breath here. We're going to exhale. We're going to bring the arms overhead. Softening through the elbows. Just bring the arms down to the floor. So the arms of the hands are behind the head. Take an inhale breath here, and as we exhale, we're going to release the spine down, but leave the arms where they are. Quite a nice release stretch as we slowly start to place the spine down onto the floor, one vertebrae at a time. Well done. Just grab hold of one knee, grab hold of the other knee, and just give those knees a hug, lengthen those glutes back out. Have a little rock from side to side. Next exercise, spine twist. Spine twist on our back this time, so a nice bit of oblique work, working across the waist. I'm going to give you a level 1, which is feet stay on the floor. So arms come out to the side, level with the shoulders, palms facing up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to roll the knees over in one direction, rotating through that lower spine. So inhale as we lower the knees down. As we exhale, engaging through the core, bring those knees back through the center and inhaling down to the other side. So it's a really nice stretchy exercise. Exhale up. Making it more of a strength exercise. So spine's in neutral or imprint. Bringing the knees up into tabletop position. Zipping the legs together. Same thing again. Inhale as we roll the knees down. And exhale as we bring the knees back through center and down to the other side. So keeping that nice 90-degree bend. Try not to bring the knees in towards the chest, slightly cheating. We want to keep that 90 degrees in the hip, 90 degrees in the knee. And exhale, just squeeze back through the center. Just making sure those shoulder blades don't leave the floor. That looks good. Imagine we've got an orange behind that kneecap. Nice, Bex. Lovely, Pam. Let's go for one more to each side. And last one. Exhale, bring those knees back to center again. Bring the knees in towards the chest. So just have a little roll around, relax those abdominals. Quick break before we do our double leg stretch. So making sure we maintain our imprint, we're going to bring the legs back into tabletop position. So knees are together, we're going to bring the hands to outside of the knees. We're going to take an inhale breath. As we inhale, we're going to lengthen the legs up towards the ceiling, bring the arms behind the head, and then exhale, rotate round and back to that start position. Put all the time pushing that spine down into the floor. So inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, rotate the arms around, bring the legs back to tabletop. Let's keep that going. So this is our level 1. Level 2, I want to make it slightly harder. The legs go out at an angle. So inhale, breath, lengthen. As long as we can maintain that imprint with the spine So as soon as that spine starts to lift from the floor, we know we've gone too far. If you want to make it even harder, we can lift up through those head and shoulders. Inhale, lengthen, so we come into like a dish shape. Exhale it back. Really working down the abdominals this one. Working that six-pack muscle. Let's go for 4 more. Last 3. Nice big exhale breath, last 2. It's called double leg stretch, so really focus on that stretch, really shoot those legs away, engage through the quads. Exhale, bring it back. That's start position, well done. Have a little roll around. We'll finish off with a nice rolly exercise. So bringing the feet back down to the floor. We're going to roll up into seated. So if you want to keep that bend in the knee, that's fine. If you want to straighten out through the legs, that's also fine. Bring the arms up above the shoulders, anchor those shoulders down into the mat. Taking an inhale breath, as we exhale, we're going to bring the chin towards the chest and just peel the spine up from the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Sit nice and tall here. Let's forward fold, just get that nice stretch down the back of the leg. So just reach for the feet. Enjoy that stretch for a few seconds. And release. So, last exercise, I'll give you a few options. I know everybody doesn't like rolly exercises. So bringing the feet up towards the bottom. Nice bend in the knee. We're going to sit towards the back of the sit bones and then lift the feet up from the floor. So really using the core to balance here. We're just going to start with rolling like a ball. Take an inhale breath. So we're working that C curve. We're rolling back to the shoulders and then balancing back at the top. If you need to put your feet down there, that's fine. If not, just try and balance on the back of those sit bones. It's all about controlling the roll. Just roll back to the shoulders. Make sure you don't go back to the neck and balancing that thing on the back of the sit bones. So that's your first option. Nice little massage of the spine there as well. Next option, hands come down by the side, fingers pointing forwards. We're going to roll back and up towards the ceiling and then balance the top. So it's not legs over the head like the rollover, it's more, I think it's called jackknife. So we reach the ceiling and then balance the top. So we want to shoot those legs up, weights on the shoulders and then balance. Let's have a few more goes. Reach and roll, balancing here. Last 3 times. Let's see how you're getting on. Lovely. So really use the core to control the roll, if you know what I mean. Lovely, Bex. Perfect, Keena. Nice, Jill. Lovely, Pam. Yeah, well, got it, well done. I like a nice rolling one to finish. And then coming back to seated. Well done. Let's first stretch we'll do is a nice hip flexor stretch actually. So legs out nice and wide, nice and tall on the sit bones. We're then going to bring the left foot to the inside of the right leg. We're going to stretch out through the obliques now. So bringing the right hand across the waist. We're going to reach the left arm up and over, feeling that nice stretch down the side of the body. Reaching towards the foot there. And then we're going to come out of that stretch, bringing the hands behind the body, fingers pointing away, and then we're going to come up onto the knee, pushing into the hips there. That's it, lovely. And then bring the bottom back down, nice and controlled. Arm comes across the waist. Let's go back into our oblique stretch. So reaching down towards the foot. Feel that length into the side of the waist. Coming back up. Arm comes behind. Fingers pointing away. And lift the hips up. Squeeze the bottom. Really push. Open those hips. And back down. Let's do 2 more of those on this side. So reach. Arm comes up and over, fingers pointing behind, lift up through the hips, push into the hips there. And last one. Going up and over, last one. So squeeze up, reach, lengthen through the body there, reach that arm behind, and then bring the bottom back down to the floor. We're going to switch over, doing exactly the same on the other side now. So left arm comes across, sorry, to work my left and my right out, I'm pretending to write. Bring the arm over, feel that nice stretch into the side of the waist. And then bring that arm behind, fingers point away, and reach it towards the ceiling. And then come back down. Let's go for 3 more. That's it, get a nice stretch opening up of the hip there. Last 2. And last one. And reach. Squeeze up, that's it. Engage the glutes, and then come back down onto the bottom. So staying in this position, we're going to slide the inside, down the inside of the left leg, the outside of the left hand. So down just beyond the knee, bringing the right hand up into a salute. We're going to push into this left leg as we rotate, take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Keep the elbow out nice and wide. We'll hold it there for 3, 2, 1, and bring it back to center. Well done. Switching over. Same thing again, so sliding down the inside of the right leg this time, outside of the right hand, left hand up into a salute. So pushing into that leg, gaze goes up towards the ceiling. Holding for 3, 2, and 1, and then bring it back to center. Bringing both legs out nice and wide. We're just going to walk the hands as far away as we can. Lead with the chest here. Get that nice stretch into the hips. And just hold. So we're holding these stretches at the end for a little bit longer. Three, 2, 1, and then just walk the hands back, really stack the spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling. Well done. Coming down to our fronts now. We'll just stretch off with a nice cobra stretch, so stretching down the abdominals. So just bring the feet out to the corners of the mat, relax the bottom, fingers spread underneath the shoulders, shoulders down and back. Take an inhale breath as we exhale, we're pushing into the hands, coming up into our cobra. Keep those elbows nice and tight into the side of the body as well. So we feel that stretch down the front. Make sure the hips stay down to the floor there as well. And then we might just want to lower it down halfway. Engaging through the core, just watch that lower back. We're coming up onto the knees, and this time sit back between the heels and just really lower that upper body down into the floor. And then coming up onto all fours. Nice little pigeon stretch. So we're just going to bring the right knee up in between the hands. Bring the right foot across the left knee. And we're just going to walk the leg away. And just really lean into that right glute. If you've got the mobility here, we can come down to the elbows. A bit more weight into the stretch. You feel a really nice stretch into that right hip, into the right glute. And then bring the hands back onto the mat, underneath the shoulders. We're going to push back up and out there. So just walk the leg back. Doing exactly the same on the other side. So bring that left knee in between the hands. Bring the left foot across the knee. And then just walk that leg back. Sitting into that left glute. And if we can, bring the elbows down. A bit more weight into the stretch. And then bringing those hands back underneath the shoulders, pushing back up, so just walk yourself back out. Coming back into our 4-point kneeling. So knees underneath hips, wrists underneath shoulders. Let's take it into our cat stretch. So make sure the elbows are soft. Inhale, breath here. As we exhale, bring that chin towards the chest. Squeeze the tailbone under. Push up into the spine. Hold it there for a few breaths. And then we're going to bring it back down through neutral. Beyond neutral, just start to gently squeeze the shoulder blades. Take the gaze to the end of the mat. And then back up into our cat stretch again. So scoop up. And then back down through neutral. Gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades. Take the gaze towards the end of the mat. Really stick the bottom out. And then we're going to go back to neutral now. So lengthening through the spine. Going to turn the toes underneath. Take an inhale breath. Have a little sit back into the heels first. And then we're going to exhale. Knees come up. Push the heels back into the floor, into our downward dog. Head through the arms. If you want to ease those heels down, let's have a little pedal of the legs here. Feeling that nice stretch into the calf. And then pushing both heels down and back. Soften through the knees. We're just going to start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Transfer the weight back to the feet again. Relax through the head, neck and shoulders. Just allow the upper body to feel really heavy. Have a little sway from side to side as well if you like. And then just bring it back to center. Take a deep inhale breath to prepare. As we exhale, really pull the tummy away from the thighs. Draw the tummy button up. Lift up through that pelvic floor as we just start to restack the spine. One vertebrae at a time, coming back to center. And then a nice big shoulder roll or a few shoulder rolls just to bring those shoulders